Good evening and welcome to the Bottom Line. News about your neighborhood and its condition. News that will allow you to make informed decisions. From downtown to Dover and everywhere in between, it's news that reaches the residents of Wilmington and Newcastle County. News that's real, relevant, revealing. Yes, it's the Bottom Line. Again, good evening. I am one of your hosts, Nicole D. Surrett, sitting next to one of my partners in crime here, Miss Deneen White. And we're going to start off just wishing you a happy beginning of summer. I'm hoping that you enjoyed it. It was hot.
It was very hot. Today was hot.
Today was hot.
Yes.
It's about to get hotter.
Yeah, that's
right.
what I hear. I'm not looking forward to the humidity. I love the sunshine, just not the humidity.
Right. Well, we're going to start the show a little differently today. We are actually reunited.
I know.
So it's
and
Nicole.
It feels so good.
You gonna sing it? You gonna sing it?
Reunited.
See, okay.
I'm saying no. We're gonna save that. I need to develop a ticket price.
So I'm here with Deneen, and we are so happy to have back in the studio with us Miss Abundance Child. What's up?
Hey. I'm happy to be here, even under these circumstances.
Yes, we're glad that you're here,
glad
and
you're
as you said, not the best of circumstances, but
Right.
we're here to support you because both of us were supposed to be off tonight.
We were,
right.
and then we talked and was like,
Yeah,
oh, no,
we need to be
yeah.
here to support you and your daughter and to help you get the message out. So we've already introduced Abundance, and sitting next to her is her lovely daughter, Miara, who is affectionately referred to as Mimi. So, Abundance, why don't you fill us in on what's going on?
It was just a chain of events that actually started in my neighborhood where I live. People call it Hocusin, post office of Newark, but either way, about a year ago, I was seeing some concerning chats between Miara and some of her friends. And I have access to all her social networks, and so I was checking them out, and I was letting her know that I was checking them out. And some of them were so disturbing that I was just blocking. I was like, listen, this is Miara's mother, please don't contact my child anymore. And one girl was just very snippy, and she just decided that she wanted to talk to me any old type of way, and I was like, absolutely not, you can't be friends with her. Another girl just cried and was like, no, Miara's my friend, and Miara was crying, and I was like, I need to speak with her parents, and then we can continue to be friends. Fast forward a year from now, Miara, like most children don't listen, she had smart mouthed me, and I said, Miara, you're not going outside when we get home. The Game of Thrones came on, and I was like, I'm not even going to deal with this child. She went outside anyway. I had my oldest daughter check to see she was outside. I said, okay. So when she gets in, I'm just taking her iPod for life. So that same night, she got in some type of political argument or something like that, and one of the girls punched her. My mom sends me a text message and said, what do we need to be doing about this? I was just like, Mom, we're fine. Miara, stay away from these children. Just period. Stay away from these children. Although this is the neighborhood you grew up in, I grew up in, we're brown. We're the only one that's brown in here. People look at us differently. They're going to probably look at you as the aggressor or something like that. Stay away. The next day she was like, the next day they had put some pebbles outside of our driveway so that Miara loves to ride her skateboard, so that when she rode her skateboard, she would trip. So the next day, she was like, Mom, I just want to leave the shop early. Can I go and can I skateboard? And I was like, yes, please stay away from those children. Those are her friends, though. And I'm not saying that she went looking for trouble, but she went in the area where I know that she knows that those children were.
Okay.
And that's when the incident happened. And I can let Miara tell that side of the story. And if for people who don't know, did you want to tell that side of the story?
No, not really.
Okay. Well, people can actually look online for that side of the story. I mean, it's just a situation that ended in Miara being hit with a piece of concrete that required her to have 7 stitches because she has a laceration right here. She also got hit in the face, and so she's, bruised and has scarred here. And that's basically the situation. So the case is under investigation right now by Newcastle County Police, and we're just working with them to make sure that everybody receives equal protection under the law, and that those girls are charged fairly.
So this was a chain of events that went on over a period of time, like a year, right? And so it started out with social bullying, do we say, or was it just?
I think that children have fights.
Right.
Like, adults have
That's
fights.
true.
They go back
Absolutely.
and forth. But this particular incident they were bullying, and it was just too much.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was so good that you were actually monitoring that so that you can intervene and give her some guidance. And we know that not all children follow their parents' direction, but it escalated into this situation that was very
It's very
severe.
unfortunate.
Yeah. It was very unfortunate that this happened to Mimi, and so a lot of people in the community are very concerned about Mimi, of her well-being and how she's dealing with this whole process because, there were 7 or 8 children that ganged up on her. 7. And so this can be definitely overwhelming for a young girl who claimed that these were her friends,
Right.
and then they've all kind of like joined a alliance and decided to gang up on Miera. Is that kind of like what's taking place?
From our perspective, yes, that's exactly what has taken place. But I do, like you said, the community has showed a lot of concern. So I want to thank everybody who has reached out to our family and reached out to Miera, whether it was words of wisdom, gifts, flowers, showing up at Drop Squad Kitchen, sending me advice and messages online and offline. I just want to say that we really appreciate that. Like, it means everything. It just means everything. I'm very overwhelmed in a positive way by the response.
Right. So, Mimi, how are you kind of taking this whole situation right now?
I mean, I'm really upset. I mean, I'm upset about it because I had to get stitches and my face kind of hurt. But I mean, other than that, it's
And
it's
you're a
not the
model,
worst.
right?
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's what really upset me the most because now I'm scared that maybe I won't get as many opportunities as I would have if this hadn't happened. But I mean, like my mom says, everything happens for a reason. So I guess you have to deal with it.
And that's the direction that you want to look at it. It's all about perspective. And you're a beautiful young lady, and you have so much ahead of you, and so you need to focus on that, It's so funny because adversity always will try to come in the way and block us from where we're going when we're on the right track. And you're bright. You're on the right track. It's no secret that you're bright and that you're beautiful.
Thank you.
So things are going to automatically just try to come into your way to prevent you from moving forward, but you just got to muscle up and keep it moving. Right? So, I mean, we're still shooting for the cover of magazines
That's
and
right.
billboards, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, so how are things going? Are you still outside playing now, or?
Ooh, I'm sorry. I actually, yesterday I went outside finally to go skateboard, and it was fun. But like my legs got used to not skating, and they hurt a lot, so I went inside early.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. I'm not trying to get this from stopping me from going outside, but it's like I still get kind of nervous because I don't want to encounter them. But oh well.
So if you had to do it over again, would you have listened to Mom?
No.
Okay. All
I mean, I feel like
I like your honesty.
She's very honest.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe
No.
no, not really. I feel like this has helped me. Because if
Right.
this hadn't happened, maybe something worse would have happened, and I wouldn't like. So maybe just something worse would have happened if I hadn't got the lesson now. You know?
Right. And so I just want to stop and just commend you both. Number one, abundance for having a standard as a mom where you are checking social media and
Absolutely.
saying,
It's so
you know,
necessary.
this child is not talking to me with respect, so I know that respect is not going to be carried over to my daughter. You can't associate with them, or if you want to, I need to meet the parents. I mean, that's something that lots of parents, the younger generation, they're not doing anymore.
Right.
They're just letting the children, very little supervision.
Absolutely.
But back in the day,
Yes.
you know,
Right.
you met
all
somebody's parents, you know, before you came in the house and things of that nature. So I just, you know, commend you for having that standard. And you know, I've been in in the presence of your daughters, and they're just wonderful children.
are.
They're
They
wonderful.
really are.
And I mean, her maturity just stands out by her saying, you know what, and be
learning from this
honest, right? I'm
situation.
learning from it, and you know, it could have been worse, but now she'll move forward with a different perspective, as you said. So.
Right. And so, I mean, you know, I'm all about, you know, looking forward into the future and focusing on the positive. And so I think that we should probably spend the next portion of this interview just kind of talking about, you know, like you just mentioned, how parents can become more involved, you know, into their child's life, you know, their social life, and making sure, and like, sometimes children, you know, they don't like it when their parents are in their business and it's like, Mom, get off my back, you know. But how do you, because you have a wonderful relationship with both of your daughters.
I do.
And it's like, how do you establish that type of relationship to the point where they're receptive to the advice that you give them? Because she didn't come up with that on her own, that she was going to learn from it. You know, it's something
Right.
you put in her that made her respond to it that
Maybe
way.
I should tell a little bit of my story because it will humanize this. I mean, a lot of times people see things from their own perspective, and there's a precondition that people might not want to pay attention to just because their reality doesn't make them understand. So I grew up in that neighborhood myself. I was the only person that looked like me. Just like Miara is the only person that really looks like her in the area where we live. And that was extremely difficult. As you said, back in the day, we had community, so everybody knew everybody next door. If I did something, rest assured that person at the house that I did something was going to discipline me, she was going to call my mother, and they were going to discipline me, and it wasn't going to be a problem. We weren't going to call the cops that she smacked me, or we can't do any of those things right now.
Right.
So I have had to be extra with my children because we've lived in other neighborhoods where people look like us. I chose to move out of the neighborhoods where people look like us and actually have more of a socioeconomic status that I have, because out there that's my parents' socioeconomic status, because I got robbed at gunpoint, because other things happened to me and I just was not comfortable raising my children like that. But I've had to let her know, like, Miara, I understand that you don't see people's color, because I grew up in a racially diverse household, stepfather being white, brother being mixed, so those were sensitive areas. But I had to let her know that just because you don't see color, or you have no problem being friends with people because of what they have. Like, you don't care if people live in Hockessin or if they live on Bennett Street. She does not care. She accepts you for who you are.
Right.
But I have had to show her the ways of the world, and she just was not prepared for that.
Right.
And she still might not have gotten that lesson, even though she's saying what she's saying right now. She still might not have this lesson because we're dealing with the virus. So my experience in being bullied, and then having to actually homeschool my daughter for being bullied in these same areas is the reason why I have this relationship with my children. I'm using my life experience and passing my wisdom on to them. I'm only hoping that they can understand. They have to get the knowledge, then they have to be able to act on it, like she just said, with the wisdom. Well, now I know, but that doesn't mean at 13 she has the understanding. This is where the parents come in. This is what you're talking about, and this is when the staff at school come in.
Right.
This is when law enforcement come in. They have to start taking this bullying seriously.
Seriously, absolutely.
You cannot just say because these were children involved that they're only going to get a smaller amount of time. And not only that, we have to, again, like I said, there needs to be equal protection under the law. So if you're going to charge black children over here with something and they did something less, and you're going to charge these children over here with something and they did something more, whatever the case may be, we need to look at certain things to see if everybody's treated fairly.
Right, and we know that they're not. But
Right.
Have any of the parents reached out to either of you?
I don't want to say names, but
Right.
one parent did, right?
Okay, but there were 7 or 8 children involved, and
Yeah.
only one parent reached out.
Yeah, one of the parents did. Just one, I guess.
And
Okay.
they expressed their concern, and they're like, one of our children is a leader, and the other one really is not so much. And we apologize. And then there was somebody sent me a message on my fan page on Facebook and said my children were not involved. We were sad and ashamed that this happened. We'll even teach you Arabic if you want to know. So people have, reached out, but it really does concern me, being as though, again, we grew up there. We were actually there before any of those people came to that neighborhood. We were
Right.
one of the original people who owned a house in that neighborhood. And I'm just saying that if my daughter did something to your daughter,
Right.
and
I think
hurt
the
her,
parents-
I would have said, I apologize. I did not raise Miara to be like that.
right.
What can I do for you? At that point, I probably would be like, I really don't want these children to have a criminal charge, because now the parents are having a dialogue. But that did not happen. But I do notice that they're dialoguing amongst each other, because I'm secretly
Absolutely.
in those little Hokessen groups on Facebook. And I'm like, wow. And I'm looking at the nastiness of how people are responding. They just assume because she's brown that she has to be
The
the
aggressor.
person who is the aggressor. So this shows that although we think that we're living in a post-racial society, we are not. And even though I didn't put the focus on that, I still am who I am,
Right.
and I understand that this definitely played a major aspect in this. So
I was sharing with Nicole, I said, it's interesting because it's not until something goes down that you realize who everyone is, right? You're
Right.
able to see who's who.
Right.
And then you're able to see, who really just doesn't like black people and who's tolerating the good black people, and then who's just all about one love and genuinely really loves all races. And you really find out who's who when something like this happens. And it's a shame because I'm sure Miara really had a connection with those kids prior to probably all this going on and really felt like they were her friend.
I mean, prima facie, she might have thought that she had
Okay.
a relationship, and that's what I'm saying. Now she'll have the wisdom, because a lot of us might say, after somebody did something like that, why would you want to go back and ask them why would they do something? Because she really thought that they were her friends.
Right.
This is a major life lesson. She has plenty of life lessons that she can get out of this. What I
True.
am standing up for, like I said, is to make sure that I don't want those children to have a horrible record. However, if we do not prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law, then they're going to grow up and not understand that there will be consequences when you say horrible things to somebody, hurtful things, racial things to somebody, and then you follow it up with an attack. It's not okay.
That's right. And
There are
Miara
legal
can't
consequences.
be the only one getting a life lesson out of this
That's right.
situation. She's the victim.
That's right.
And so definitely I agree with you on that.
And Abundance, you used a word which I think summarizes the situation very well. You refer to it as a virus. And, I have an educational background. I mean, I was a teacher for 20 years. But the whole bullying and the cyberbullying, I'm sure that there are many parents and guardians who are not thinking about that during the summer.
That's right.
And so children have a whole lot more freedom during the summer, and to be mindful of what's happening, when they go down the street and things like that. And so it's bothersome to me, not only the people who are throwing X, Y, and Z, but the bystanders. You have a responsibility, I believe, that if you see somebody who needs help, you get help. You don't stand around and videotape. You don't stand around and edge them on. You get help. But to call it a virus, I think, should really hit home to people, because everybody knows what a virus is.
That's right.
And what it does from a medical perspective.
Right.
But this is something that is infiltrating our societies, and it's happening over and over and over again. And you mentioned some key factors in how to turn this around. It's got to come from parents and guardians. It has to come from the school. It has to come from law enforcement and communities just working together to shut it down.
That's absolutely right.
And I'm actually very grateful that this situation has happened because now I have a voice. I understand who I am. So what can we do to avoid this? What is something that you think that we can do, Miara, to avoid this, so other children won't have to go through this?
I don't know. I guess just talk to your children more.
Okay.
I don't.
No, that makes sense because if you're not in communication, do you remember how much we argued about this? While you wanted to be friends, like, please, mom, just unblock Georgia, please. Excuse me, please, mom, just unblock.
Right.
Do you remember? My bad. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But that raises a good point, Abundance, is a lot of parents want to be their child's friend.
Right.
And to even have an argument, it's a dialogue, you know, so you want to be friends and they want X, Y, and Z, and a lot of parents are afraid or hesitant to take a stand and draw a line. And I remember doing that with my daughter, who was upset with me when I wouldn't allow her to wear makeup to school or to go to the theater unescorted.
Right.
And I said to her, you know, I hope nothing ever happens to your friends who are allowed to do those things, but I only get one chance with you.
That's right.
And it's not a chance that I'm willing to take. So she just had to be mad.
That's right.
And she's almost 24, she's still alive, and you know what I'm saying? So we have to know what makes us up from our core and pass that on to the next generation.
That's right.
Absolutely. You know, I was actually reading an article about cyberbullying and how, you know, kids will be kids, you know, and you have mean kids no matter what school or community you live in, right? And children, you know, they will say things and they will do things, but when it comes to social media and them doing those things, it spreads in a way.
And it's unchecked.
Yes. And it's so hard to monitor or control it, I should say, you know, so that it doesn't get out of control, you know, and when parents are not monitoring what their kids are doing on those cell phones, then, you know, you have 100 different people commenting and sharing and, you know, and then that person that it's about is tremendously affected a lot of times, you know, and so I think that this social media thing has definitely, you know, made things so much more great.
Can I jump into something you just said when you talked about 100 different people? When parents are not standing up and embracing their parental roles, you've got 100 different people speaking into the life of your children.
That's right.
From the television shows, the movies, what's going on the internet, you've got all of these different
And they're
spirits
just downloading
pouring.
it all.
Yes.
And that's part of the problem. I mean, that's why we are where we are.
I think that she's handled this very well. I was counseled by so many great people in the community, especially Charles Potter, and some other people. And one of my closest friends said, I need you to not be emotional. I need you to just focus on Miara right now.
Right.
Like, get out of your feelings and just focus on her. Be a mother to her and nurture her. Let's see how she handles the situation. Follow her lead and see how you can help her through that. This girl never said one bad thing about any of these people. I never heard any mention of revenge. She did not have any spirit of vengefulness. While I'm running around, I want to just beat some, you know, like, and their parents, like, for a lot, you know, even just too much. She's just like, okay, I'm okay. And I just thought the fact that she hasn't internalized any of those things, because they did call you some harsh things. So I noticed in the chat to Anana, like, when they actually did post some video footage on Snapchat the next day and then called her the B word. And I was noticing in the chat to her sister, she was like, girl, bye. Like, she was like, LOL at them calling me this or saying I'm basic. And she just brushed it off. When I know me, if you say, I don't like her hair, or, you know, she looks fat, I'll be sitting here like, I wonder if did I look fat? She doesn't have any of that. So if somebody else, let's say Yunobi, this happens to Yunobi, somebody that she mentors, what advice would you give Yunobi if something like this happened to her? How would you want her to respond?
Right.
The same exact thing.
And how was that?
What do you mean? What do you even talk?
You said the same exact way.
the same exact thing that happened to me, or just
Yes.
blank.
How would you want her to respond if something like this happened to her?
You're like, it's not your fault, so don't even blame yourself. First of all, second of all, you gotta just be yourself. You can't, just because this one thing happened, you can't think that, oh, well, maybe if I was more like this, maybe this wouldn't happen. Like, no.
That's awesome.
No, you gotta just stay yourself. You gotta stay you, because you can't just you just can't become basic. You can't. And I just feel like, stuff happens, and I know it's hard, but you just gotta get over it, because you're gonna get a blessing from this, and it's not all gonna be bad. So something good's gonna come from this, obviously.
Oh my
So
gosh, girl, you are mentoring to some adults out here. Are y'all listening to me?
So he
You gotta
said,
speak.
so he
Go ahead.
didn't.
So because of your experience, you'll be in a position to help somebody else. And perhaps as a result of this interview, there are some people who are being bullied on the down low, and now that they know there's somebody who understands and they can feel comfortable coming to you and confiding in you. So you keep your head up, and you keep listening to Mom.
And I'm looking forward to your mentoring program. Yeah, because I think that that's awesome. Your mindset, your position, just on their outlook on everything is just amazing. At such a young age that you're even that mature in that area is just unbelievable. So you could definitely help a lot of children. And seriously, because you have to identify your gifts as they're, presented, and you have one.
That's right.
You really do.
So good job, Mom.
Thank you.
Keep up the good
Yes.
work. And we're getting ready to switch over to another studio. Would you like to say anything in closing, either one of you?
Again, I just want to say thank you so much for reaching out to us, and let's utilize this right now to draw attention to the fact that we as parents need to be more active, as Miara said, and we have to be more active and involved in your school. I homeschool my children, but you got to be more active and involved in schools, because I feel like that was lacking when that happened with me. It's kind of like we just dropped the ball. I'm just going to take my children out of school. And then finally, like I'm doing right now, I'm staying on this case and working with Newcastle County Police. Y'all have to work with law enforcement and people who are your elected officials to make sure that people are treated fairly when this happens, and this is not just brushed away like, oh, these are just children. No, these children grow up to be adults.
That's right.
Right. So.
All right. So that is the bottom line. These children grow up to be
Right.
adults.
That's the bottom
And if they're
line.
hateful children, they're going to grow up to be
Hateful adults.
Right. So Abundance went through all of the work, but Miara is ours.
Yeah.
So
I know. I just want to hug you.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
great. Thank
Okay,
you both
good
for
stuff.
being
Thank
here.
you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I think we're going over to Ed. Is that correct? He's got some hot sports news to share with us. What a game, what a game, what a game. Yay, Cap. Okay, go ahead. I won't spoil your thunder.
Lord have mercy. All right, before we get started, I wanted to bring my signs and posters today because I wanted to pay a final tribute to probably one of the greatest athletes to ever span our generation. That's Muhammad Ali. He touched so many people, so many lives in so many ways. And he's going to touch mine for a long period of time. I'll never forget him because in my mind, he was the greatest boxer to ever don the gloves. And I want to say a final farewell to Muhammad Ali. Okay, in hockey, another great loss we had. We recently lost another great champion in Gordie Howe. He played NFL hockey from 1946 to 1980, well into his 50s. He played 26 seasons in the NHL and 6 seasons in the World Hockey Association. He died June the 10th, 2016. Our hearts and prayers go out to Mr. Howe and his entire family. Okay, a couple weeks ago, we was talking about horse racing. I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't get to that. The Belmont Stakes, a few weeks ago, a horse named Creator won. the last leg of this year's Triple Crown. That was run on June the 11th, and winning the Belmont Stakes. Exaggerator, the winner of the Preakness, finished 11th. So we have to congratulate the creator as he won that race. In tennis, I'm going to come back to hockey in a minute because we got a new champion of Stanley Cup Finals. Tennis, Maria Sharapova was suspended 2 years or handed down a 2-year ban for testing positive for a banned substance called meldonium by the International Tennis Federation. And I think a 2-year ban is kind of a little excessive because we got players that test positive in baseball and football and in all sports. And what happens is that they get maybe a 60-game ban or a half-year ban, or football maybe a four-game ban. She's banned for 2 years, and she's one of the best tennis stars that we have around here, battling some of the top players in the sport. And for 2 years, I think that's a little bit excessive. So we're gonna, don't like that at all. Okay, hockey. Also in hockey, we have a new Stanley Cup champion as Sidney Crosby and his Pittsburgh Penguins, after losing Game 5 in Pittsburgh, went into San Jose and won the championship on the road. They won it 3-1, celebrating their championship on the home ice of the San Jose Sharks, and we congratulate the Pittsburgh Penguins and their fans. Okay, we'll move on to the Olympics, which is 50 days away. Russian track and field athletes have got banned from the Rio Olympics, that's Rio de Janeiro. And it looks like what happened was they were on a trial because the whole team was tinted from doping. And it's kind of funny because Maria Sharapova was from Russia, and now the whole Russian team won't be allowed to compete in the Olympics. And as many of us know, we all follow the Olympics, and Russia usually is the USA's main competitor in the sports, in the medal count. So this kind of took me aback by some, but this is just something that can't go on. You got to stop this doping stuff because there's too much of that going around these days. So maybe we'll win more medals, I don't know, but I would like to see Russia been there because they are our primary competitors anytime we go to world sports. In baseball, after starting out hot, the Phillies have reverted back into the team that we all know too well, losers. 1 month ago, the Phillies were 7 games above 500. They are now 10 games under 500 at 30-40. We knew it was going to happen, but we knew it wasn't going to last. Chicago Cubs still have the best record in baseball, and they're now at 46-20. And we still have a long way to go. We got over 100 games to go. So, we still got a long way to go. Now, the standings in the American League, Baltimore is leading Boston by 1 game in the American League East. Cleveland is in the Central leading 38-30. In the West, Texas at 45-25. In the National League, Washington has in the East is 43-27. As we mentioned before, Chicago is leading the Central 46-20. St. Louis is behind Chicago at 35-33. In the West, San Francisco got a 44-26 record. Some of these teams got some good records, and it's still a long way. Whoever gets hot coming down the stretch is going to pull away and win that. Before I talk about NBA Finals, I don't like what happened when the NBA decided to suspend Draymond Green for the 5th game of the NBA Finals. I think that what happened was once they did that, that turned the whole series around. This is a picture of LeBron James and his team after they won it. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to beat the Golden State Warriors in the 7-game series, but Cleveland has proved me wrong. And I don't know. I think that too many times that the referees have too much control over the sports, because when you tell me that Kyrie Irving in 1 game shoots more free throws than the entire Golden State team, that in itself is, to me, is not the right way to go. They call in too many fouls on the other teams. All right, and in closing, I want to say that King Griffey's son was drafted by the Mariners. He used to be a Mariner, a long-time Mariner, and he did his thing. And a golfer named Dustin Johnson won the U.S. Open yesterday in golf. It's one of the major titles, and he's, from what I understand, the papers are saying he's very good, and he's got more champions to come. And this is what I'm going to leave you with. We're going to take a short break after we see this, but this is Muhammad Ali, and you can see on the top what it says: "Farewell to a great champion." Farewell. That's it for sports. Take care. We're going to take a short break.
Welcome back to The Bottom Line. You know, it was so nice to have Abundance back in the house. We decided we were going to hold her hostage, and she's going to stay until the end of the show, and we're going to talk some more. And so, like, we're outnumbering the guys today. That's
Lord have
nice.
mercy.
You know, we could have done the sports.
We got to do something
Could've
about
just
it.
done all the
We got to do
sports.
something about
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
I can't be all alone now. Come on now. You guys, where Reverend Johnson? Cal, where you guys at, man?
So today was the first day of summer, and
it
yesterday was Father's Day. So we should say something to say happy belated Father's Day to all of the fathers, father figures, uncles. You know, if you're all of that, grandfathers. It was a beautiful day.
On our crew. Happy
Yes.
Father's Day. Happy belated Father's Day.
And to the fathers to be, because
Yes.
they're already fathers.
Sure.
Just wait until the child
waiting for the
gets
child.
here, but they're already fathers. So
Uh-huh.
hopefully you had an enjoyable time. And tomorrow, it dawned on me, Clifford Brown Jazz
It
Fest
starts tomorrow, the 21st.
starts tomorrow, and it ends on Friday the 25th.
Yeah.
You have to jump online and check out the lineup. I know they have a big billboard on 95, but it's hard to drive and read. So, are you going out?
Oh yeah, I go every year.
Okay.
I go to opening night and closing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to put
Big night.
I'll have to
Right.
put a plug in so I can get auntie points. My nephew is the bass player for Anaya Jazz,
Oh,
so
really?
I will be out supporting him, and so yeah, extra
Nice.
points for me. Like I need points, but you know it's just nice. So
Nice,
so I'll be
good
out there
stuff.
definitely Friday.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good stuff. So I have a little bit of announcement. We talked about Elder Ty. He's actually hosting the Old School House Party Productions Fabulous Motown Review.
Okay. All right.
Lord.
I can't imagine.
Can you
Oh, man, I
imagine
cannot.
Elder Ty hosting
When is this event taking place?
the Motown Review?
The Motown review.
Yeah, this is taking place July 16th at PS DuPont.
That sounds like fun.
And, oh yeah, and so you got flashbacks of the Temptations, Otis Redding, Marvin Gaye. I mean, they're going to be sitting on all the hot stuff. That's Saturday, July 16, 2016, of course. I probably shouldn't have said that. From 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at PS DuPont. Tickets are $30. They're available now. Just go to Eventbrite. You can also contact Andrea Queen at 302-803-3400. That number again is 302-803-3400. You're calling Andrea to get your tickets to the fabulous Motown Review.
And you have an announcement too, Abundance?
Yes, June 26th, Dr. Umar Johnson will be at Price's Park. The event is free. It goes from 12 p.m. to about 6 p.m. Dr. Umar Johnson will be speaking at 3 p.m. So it'll be free vendor, or not free vending, but it's free to the people. There will be vendors and a lot of guest speakers, poets, artists, things like that.
So I'm not familiar with him. Can you tell us a little bit?
Dr. Umar
his
Johnson
background?
is out of Philadelphia. He is a renowned clinical psychologist. He's the one that's he coined ADD is not attention deficit disorder. It's like attention, need daddy in, disorder, like no daddy in the home disorder.
Right.
And he really speaks to just our plight as a people from a psychological perspective. And right now he's on a mission to build our own school, like for boys. And so he's been trying to raise funds for that. But he does lectures. They call him the Prince of Peace because he's into Pan-Africanist ideology and things like that. And he's a great lecturer and a great speaker. And so when he came here before, he grew a large crowd. Sister Robin, people know her as Freedom, has put together this event. And the name of this event is called Violence begets violence. I'm like, how
fitting is that?
How fitting is that, right?
Absolutely.
So I just urge people to come out. It's free.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Drop Squad Kitchen will be in the house cooking.
All right, all right.
Was that a plug?
And I'm hosting.
And it should be.
Oh, you're
plugged.
hosting too.
I'm always the
So
host.
where's the event?
Prices Park.
At Prices. Okay.
And what is this? It's a speaking about violence that's in the world today, or teenage violence, or what?
Just
does
in
that
general,
entail?
violence begets violence. There's a lot of so-called black on black crime.
Yeah, it is.
And he was saying, like, this is not the way to alleviate the situation. There's no cure in being more violent. So
Right.
that's violence. Violence begets violence.
Hurt people hurt people.
Exactly.
You know, well, people learn to talk things out instead of taking their actions out against, for any little reason, then I think the world would be a much better place. But a lot of times we got people that for any little reason, they might step on your foot or something like that, or that creates a spark between, like younger people, they do that. But older people, they say, man, they'll brush it right off and say, hey man, it's a mistake, and that's what it is.
Right.
And and people need to come to an understanding that it doesn't take violence to settle violence. Violence is a bad thing to be happening in our world, and there's too much black on black violence that's happening out here right now. Because our people need to come together instead of fighting each other.
And we
to
need
make us
more
a better place.
examples in
Yeah,
our
we need more
community
examples.
of
We
how
definitely
you should
do.
behave.
Or just even fighting other people just because they're different.
Right.
You know,
That-
the
and that-
whole
that makes no sense.
massacre in Orlando.
That's crazy.
You know,
That's just
because
crazy.
people are different.
And
you know?
I believe that the guy's wife should be fully charged for what she, because she
Yeah,
drove
they
him.
can find
And
her.
she knew all about it. Yeah,
she-
Last I
she
heard,
drove
they
him.
couldn't find her. So
They can't find her. I didn't read
I
that
saw
part.
that they couldn't find her, but I don't.
Wow,
I'm
how
not on top
convenient.
of it.
But I don't know.
really.
See, I have a problem with people hurting people that they don't even know. This gets to me. I could never
hurt
even
people
consider.
hurt people.
Right.
Basically,
I couldn't
yeah.
even consider doing anything like that. My conscience would bother me. I would not be able to sleep at night.
Right, right.
But a lot of people can do that, and they call themselves they Islams or Muslims or whatever they call themselves. But it's crazy to even think that way. And I don't know how so many people can do that without.
It extends far past Muslims.
It does. It does.
It really does.
Because ISIS is
And
part of
it's
that.
a hate crime.
There's hate, and ISIS preaches hate, and I guess that's what they think that they believe in, and they get that in their head, and then they start. I don't know what they think. But I don't know how anybody can be induced by one of these organizations that
That's what they want us
produces violence.
to know. We know that about the media. The media is something that is created, period. We created this media outlet. So whatever perspective we're showing is what they're showing. I think at the end of the day, it's what we're all really saying. It's that we are responsible for ourselves. And hopefully that situation that happened in Orlando, that situation that happened with Miara, unfortunately none of these people are dying or getting hurt in vain. And we can stop by and we can say to ourselves, the next time we want to be too loud or we want to call somebody out of their name or do something that is just unnecessary, we could remember how we felt when we saw Miara's situation, or we could remember how we felt when we found out about the Orlando situation,
And
or
we can remember,
Trayvon, anybody.
Yeah, and we can remember that our children are watching us.
That's right.
They're
Right.
watching our actions.
We
They
are
wa-
the example.
We are
That's
the
exactly
example.
right. Because
and it
children,
starts with
they
us.
emulate their parents.
Right.
They
and
want to
even
be like
if
you.
you are a person of inspiration, even if you are, the next door neighbor that always says good morning and gives the kids a little piece of candy, just tell them to have a good day, you are making an impression on that
You
child.
are.
And the way that you walk, they're paying attention to that. And so you have to be careful in the direction that you step, because people are watching, children are watching, and they're emulating what they see, and they're behaving the way that parents especially are responding to their children. I mean, I watch parents all the time just snapping and yelling at their kids for no absolute reason.
Because they're not civilized enough to have a conversation. with
Exactly.
them.
And then you wonder why the child is running through the streets yelling and snapping at other kids.
That's
Right. Right.
well. What about the impression that Velda Jones Potter is making?
Let's talk about it. Can we
I
not
meant to
forget
bring
to
that
give
up.
Velda her shout out?
That's
I
right.
just now left a fundraiser a little while ago, and it was very good
great.
and good food, and I had a couple of nice little
The Drop
lemonades.
Squad cater?
No, it was at Temple.
It was at
No, the
yes,
Timothy-
it was
Timothy
at
Festival.
Timothy. But I just love this woman. Every
Yeah.
opportunity she has, she's sending me a text. I'm doing this. Can you cater this? And I need lasagna for my Christmas party. And
She's
That's
great.
good.
Velda Jones Potter, y'all.
That's right.
That's
She made,
right.
she made a
That's
great
right.
state treasurer because she did a very good job at that. Now she can do the state, like I heard somebody else saying tonight, you know she's going to be a good city treasurer.
Oh,
She's
absolutely.
proven.
She's
And
proven.
her
She's proven it. She's very good.
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody, whenever I hear her name, they are always associating her with being a smart woman,
That's
a
right.
bright person, you know, a polite and a approachable
And you know what? One thing that people
leader.
don't mention,
told Mr.
she's one of the
Potter-
nicest people that you
She
would
really
ever
She
is.
want
really
to
is
meet.
sweet.
She
I told
genuinely.
Mr. Potter, I said, my mom said that Velda is the Braves behind.
Oh, everybody says that.
Hey, wait a minute, hold it. I can't let y'all cut my boy up now. Wait a minute, hold it.
I'm the strategist.
Right, right.
So tonight was actually her official announcement.
Yeah.
Right,
It was
exactly.
great.
It was
Yeah,
great.
it
It
was
was
so
good.
two
many
of us
people
weren't
there.
Oh,
able
I'm
to get
sure.
there.
I wanted to get there
Yeah.
so bad.
So the announcement was tonight at
Yes.
Timothy's, and that ended around 7:30. But there's another fundraiser. If you weren't able to go out and meet her tonight, it will be held Saturday, July 9th at the PAL,
Right.
3707 North Market Street. I believe the time is 5 to 8. You can get tickets from Miss Marva Richardson, or you can stop by State Rep Potter's office and get your tickets, and I believe they're like $25. So,
Okay, great.
yeah, so
Wonderful. So definitely support and vote Potter.
I think what is September the 13th?
September the 13th
it?
is
Okay.
election day, and we
Yeah.
also have Elder Ty running also.
Yeah.
We do. Can you
So-
not leave
Okay.
Elder Ty out?
Because we'd hear
Leave
about
him
it.
out.
Oh, my goodness.
We would hear about it.
Yes.
Trust. We're gonna hear.
Right.
He's probably going to do a special 30-minute segment.
I'm glad we didn't mention it to the last 5 minutes.
That's right. So he's running for city council
City
at
council.
large,
At
right?
large?
Go
Yeah.
ahead now.
Anybody know what district he's running for?
Oh, why you set us up?
Well, you know, that's
I don't
not
know.
important. We like to focus on.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what district he's running for.
I don't know.
No, it is important,
Yeah.
and he's running for city council at large.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, city council, not third district, not first district. He's running for city council at
At
large.
large.
So when you see Tyrone Johnson
That's right.
on the ballot, that's the
Elder
button
State.
you push.
I'm going to push the button for him now. I got
Uh-huh.
it.
You know what? I didn't realize that Mr. Ed has some skills beyond sports.
Oh, what's
He's
that?
holding his own
That's
in
right.
the chair.
Hey, look, don't
What
cut
is
me
he
now.
running for?
He's not running for anything.
Oh,
saying
I'm
he's
sorry, I
holding his
missed it.
own. He's holding his own. So maybe we need to get you from behind that sports
That's
desk
right.
a little more often.
Now, you know what? I was talking to Charles about maybe doing a little weather skit.
Oh,
goodness.
now
wait a
you're
minute, hold
the
it.
meteorologist.
Well, wait a minute. It only takes a couple of minutes, maybe 1 minute to do that. So maybe
Okay.
at the end of the show, I'll come in with a little weather skit. I was just talking to him
We'll
about
get you
this,
on the
Oh, my
green
goodness.
screen.
and go on there and we can talk about upcoming weather for the next 5 days or for the week, which would be very nice. Because right now, this weather, I don't like it. It's too hot for me, right? Because now you got to turn your air
So you
conditioner
gotta
on.
talk about
You
it.
got to do, spend more money.
Right,
You got to go in your car. You got to turn it up full blast.
Yes,
You're sweating. And so I always say the summertime, you can take off all your clothes and still be hot.
Right.
Wintertime, you just throwing a couple more, throw a sweater on,
Right,
a coat on, you good to go,
Uh-huh.
So I just don't like the time weather. It's too hot for me.
Oh, yeah, I
Well,
love it.
it's time for us to go. It was so nice to have you
See you,
back.
Abundance,
It's good to be
tonight.
back.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming,
You're
and
welcome.
hopefully this won't be the last time that you'll have
No.
to leave work a little early and come on over and hang out
I
with
told
us.
On better
Shaquem maybe
terms.
I'll do every other week.
Okay,
Oh, good,
that would be
good.
great.
So
Or
Y'all remember
need some
Shaquem is
cooking
going
demos.
to,
Right.
he's leaving Friday, right? For
The water.
For Flint.
For water
oh,
for Flint, Michigan?
Yes.
Okay, we
Delaware
went to,
is sprinting to Flint.
right. Where he's taking what, water again?
He's taking
Yes.
water donation, and he's taking water donations. So make sure y'all find him
And I think
Right.
those
on social
donations
media.
are only coming in through Wednesday.
At the
At the
Her Street, I
cleaners
think
over
it's
in
Her
South
Street.
Bridge.
Yo,
Okay.
okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So I think we covered everything.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think we
I
covered
think we
everything.
did.
Hey, Ty, we got you.
We hope that you have an enjoyable week. On behalf of the captain, State Rep Charles Potter, Elder Ty, Reverend Cal, Shaquem, Brittany Michelle, I'm Nicole Surratt,
I'm Deneen White.
I'm Abundance Child.
Ed Johnson Jr.
and this is
The Bottom Line.